Hi Pepper Kennies, it's Percy and welcome back to my channel. Today you're going to be watching a speed paint of me making my Fantasona character. Now, the Fantasona tag was created on Twitter by a user named Yella, aka Popcorn Cheek, and you're basically supposed to choose a gown, a crown, and a weapon for your character. Now for me, what I wanted to create wasn't something that really looked like me, but something or someone that represented who I was in terms of my personality and my aura, and I really think that I managed to do that. My usual pieces tend to be very detailed portraits, and this one is a full body done in a painterly style with not that many details, but I still did end up loving her. And this piece kind of served as a very experimental piece of me just trying to figure out another style that I like to do other than just realism, and I really did enjoy it. So my process is still pretty straightforward, and I think that it's something that you can get just by watching it. So I decided to talk about something other than my process while you watch it. What I wanted to talk about was something very closely related to this piece, which is basically what is the most important artwork an artist can make in their entire career. A lot of people will say that it's going to be a piece that's career defining, something that will make their career take off. Well, I would beg to differ. I think the most important piece of artwork that an artist can make is something that they make for themselves. Why do I say that? Because as an artist, you don't really have a break. And what I mean by that is you're either constantly working, making something for someone else, or you're constantly drawing for yourself, trying to make yourself improve, or stressing out that you're not drawing. So a great way for an artist, or at least for me, to take a break is to actually draw something that not only do you enjoy, but also in a way helps you improve, not just technically, but also creatively. And it's really hard to grow creatively when you're constantly making stuff for other people, if you're working on commissions or if you're working for a company, and it can feel really, really draining. I know that a lot of people will say, well, other jobs are also draining, and yes, that's true, but what I mean by draining isn't really physically, because I know that humans, we can push ourselves physically. Even when we're really exhausted, we can still make ourselves work. But as an artist, or even like a writer, it's very different, because the type of exhaustion that can potentially ruin our career isn't physical exhaustion, it's burnout. It basically means that you've churned out so much creativity that it's difficult for you to go back to it, even if it's something you love. And as an artist, that is definitely a point that I never want to get to. I always want to love making art, I always want to enjoy it, and earn money from it, of course. I started my art journey believing that I can't make money in art, and I only started realizing that I can later on in the future, quite recently actually. I know that a lot of us artists know that making money isn't the only thing that's important in art. It's also important to grow as an artist and to express yourself. And in my definition of art, it should be something that translates what you feel inside, and not just something that you make for other people. And I know that making art for other people is important. A lot of people will say never make art for other people, but let's be honest, if you want to make art in a career, you have to make things for other people, whether that's working for a company like a gaming company, a commission, or just to get yourself out there to get attention. You will end up making things for other people. That's why I believe that paintings like this one is very important to your career. And why do I say that it's very important to your career when I say that's for yourself? Well, as an artist, you are your career. The tablet doesn't make your art, Photoshop doesn't make your art, your phone doesn't make your art, your pencil doesn't make your art. You do. Everything else is just a tool. And when you lose yourself, you lose the main thing that creates the art. You can see here in my process that I changed my mind a lot in how I wanted to do it. I first did it in grayscale, then I switched to color, then I went to grayscale again, then I went to color again. And it's actually a part that I forgot to record because I'm still not very used to recording my work. And I actually changed up a little bit of the mouth, and I went back to color, and I went back to grayscale, and I went back to color again, and I did a few overlays. And I know it may look like I'm quite frustrated, but I'm actually not. It's actually something that I'm enjoying because I'm experimenting. While I'm using the word experimenting very loosely because I'm not going outside of my comfort zone, because I'm still drawing a person, which is something that I draw quite often, which is something that I really love to draw. I mean experimenting in terms of style, in terms of process, and I'm trying to figure out what I like. I'm trying to figure out how this works, how that works, and I'm trying to use references in a way that's transformative. And what do you mean by using a reference as transformative? When I make portraits, especially as commissions, I basically just copy the portrait. I basically look at the photo and take as much from it and replicate. But when I want to make my own artwork, I try to be as transformative as possible. So what does transformative mean? Basically, if you look at a photo as a reference, like the pose I used earlier, and you want to use it on your own, you can see that they're doing the same pose. For you, does it feel different? Because for me, it does. They have a very different vibe, although they are technically doing the same thing. And that's the same thing with the crown and the weapon and the gown. I looked at a reference photo, I analyzed what it was, analyzed what I wanted to take from it, and I took what I wanted to take from it, but I made it into something else, something that was mine. I didn't show the reference photo here for all the other different parts of the drawing, but you can see it on my Twitter when I posted the Fantasona. For the gown, I really like the gown, I really like the design of it, but obviously I didn't just copy it one-to-one. What I did was I looked at it, I tried to imagine what it would feel like to wear that gown. I put it on my character and I tried to make it react the way that it would react if the character was real. While I was drawing, I wasn't actively thinking about it, but it just felt right for me. And the reason why that felt right was I had a certain composition in my head that I didn't need to actively think about. It just happened for me. And looking at it now, it makes sense because she has a ball of magic, and it seems like the magic is affecting her and the gown by making her hair look windswept and her gown look windswept, and it just makes sense. I tried to make the gown just fall flat and just didn't work for me. I didn't realize why it just didn't work for me. I just knew that it didn't. So I changed it. And when I changed it into what it is right now, it just worked. And looking back at it, I realized that, oh, this is why it works. It's because it creates a balance and it makes sense in the world. And that is why pieces like this is very important. It's not something that you have to actively think about, but it's something that you still learn from. I enjoyed making this piece very much. I didn't stress about it at all. I didn't pressure myself to learn. Because a lot of the times when I make studies, I tend to pressure myself to learn, and sometimes I feel like, oh, you're not learning enough, learn more, but you can't really force yourself to learn more. So as an artist, it's really important to take a break, but also take a break effectively. So this piece is technically a break for me, because I just enjoyed it, didn't even think about it. I just had fun. But in the end, I actually learned something. So it's kind of like those vacations where you tend to lose yourself, but then you end up finding yourself in a way. I'm not sure if you get what I mean, or if it just seems like I'm rambling to you. You can actually just mute me and watch the speed paint if you like. But I'm hoping that I make sense. It's really important to just let yourself loose and not lose that drive, because as an artist, your drive, your passion is the most important thing you have. I know some people would say, no, skill is the most important thing you have. The thing is, skill will always be there. You can always learn. You can always adapt. Even if, let's say, you injure yourself, you're still going to learn to adapt to that new injury. You're still going to move forward. You can still take that and do something about it. Whereas if you lose your drive, you can't really do much anymore. You don't really have that reason to make art anymore. As an artist, do yourself a favor and grow your career effectively. And when I say that, I hope you take into account what I said earlier, which is you, as an artist, you are your career. You are your number one asset. You are your number one tool. Please take care of yourself and make art for you. And when I say for you, I really mean for you, not just for you to grow your Instagram or your Twitter, not just for you to show people, but really for you, for your own mental health, for your own physical health, and for your own creative health. I know the industry right now, it basically forces us to churn out as much work, as much artworks, as much detail as we can, and it seems impossible, and so many people do it. But here's the thing, it's not really sustainable, not as long as you forget to take care of yourself. It's never going to be sustainable unless we learn to value ourselves. And I know a lot of people complain that, oh, it's only because the market doesn't value us, the customers don't value us, the higher ups in the company don't value us. But it really starts with you. If you think about it, if you valued yourself, you wouldn't allow yourself to be treated that way, and you'd actually find places where you would thrive. That is why I believe that the most important artwork that you can make is always the artwork that you make for yourself. Thank you for listening to my long rambles. If you want me to do a more in-depth tutorial, please say so in the comments or on my social media. I'm definitely trying to create more videos that can actually teach people stuff, and I'm not very comfortable with making lecture videos because I would prefer that to be interactive, so I am trying to host live streams and make it be more interactive. Basically choose a topic and I discuss it and people can ask questions, and I personally feel like that's what's best for me. But if you do have questions about my process and my art, you can feel free to ask me in the comments or on my social media. I will really try my best to answer, because I do love teaching people. Even though I'm not the best, even though I'm not really a big professional, I know that anyone can learn from everyone and anyone can teach everyone else. And if I'm able to teach you something, even if you're someone who has way better skills than I do, then that would be great. And if you can also teach me something, that would be great. I'm always open to talking, I'm always open to suggestions, and I am really hoping to foster a healthy art community. So again, thank you so much for coming. I will see you in my next video, and if my next video takes too long to come up, I'll always see you in my Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. So thank you. I swear I'm gonna be less awkward the more I do this.